All right, Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Brandon Faust, moldsolutions.com. We're going to talk with him about this storm cleanup the proper way and some consumer tips coming at you here in just a moment. Before we do, a couple of hot listings here. We always like to feature our real estate properties live on air, strategy to help our sellers sell faster for more money. 11722 County Road 672 in Riverview. We've got a large piece of land. We got 20 acres here with a single family home and a warehouse. You have palm trees and orange trees, citrus trees on this property, so it could be a commercial property. Also could be viewed as a residential if you want to live there. 11722 County Road 672 in Riverview. Fully equipped farm encompassing almost 20 acres of land. A great listing from the Platinum MVP team. 5146 Marine Parkway, another commercial property right here in Tampa Bay. This one's in Pasco County. What we have is a pool company for sale, pool and spa supplies. Nice building. You have a front, a little overhang sidewalk there. Plenty of storage, close to the US 19. Lots of traffic coming by, and a beautiful property. Great opportunity to own a commercial building. 5146 Marine Parkway, Newport Richey, and you can see all of our real estate listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
This is God's country.
All right, welcome back in, Brandon.
Glad to be here. It's definitely an important subject to be talking about today.
Timing is great, and the timing is there. So let's jump right into it. So floodwaters came in. I've got Gus Bilirakis. He's sent out, Congressman Gus Bilirakis sent out a report saying he's looking at the damage, the flooding in Pasco, Hernando, Citrus counties. That's where he covers, but also further south. You're seeing a lot in Pinellas, you said. So talk to me about these floodwaters and the mistakes that people may be making.
Yeah, if you saw the photos, I mean, some of that water went up 2-3 feet into the streets, so it's going a foot into the house. So when you look at it, the Gulf water is, meeting the bay water, so you got some, that salt water coming into the home. Now, it's not just, corrosive salt water. You're actually dealing with bacteria. You're dealing with whatever goes into that water in terms of secretions from the fish, the birds, everything else that can drain into the Gulf.
Yeah, organic, right? Nasty stuff.
Yeah. So stuff that's toxigenic, stuff that's pathogenic is now in that water. And the water is rising. So it's not like wind-driven hitting from just one side or potentially dripping down. It's actually rising into the house.
Right.
So if you think about that, the amount of water that is going to be behind surfaces that you would never think are going to be saturated, it is saturated. The seal plates, the 2x4s, they're wicking water up that's going behind the drywall,
right,
behind the kitchen cabinets, the vanities, the chairs. They might have, wood bottoms that are not properly sealed are going to be actually pulling water up into the material.
Right.
So it can corrode and, destroy some of that material. But most importantly is the bacterial aspect of it and the fact that this would be classified as Category 3 black water.
Wow.
And there's really a certain way to handle that. So if you imagined a sewage flood into your home, what would you do with the belongings that were touched by that sewage water?
Right.
Right? You would want to get rid of that. So anything that is porous should be being thrown out. And if you can wash it and clean it, you can consider that. And there are some people that are content masters, like they really know how to properly clean contents. They may be able to salvage it, but the flood insurance, if you have like the National Flood Insurance Program or FEMA, they should be considering like full replacement for even the appliances. Because if you think about it, let's say the flood water came up to, you have a brand new refrigerator, but now it's being corroded down below. There's rust. Who knows what it's doing to the electronics aspect of it?
Right.
So there's going to be damage.
So that just because it works now, it may not work 6 months, a year from now.
Exactly. And it should go back to pre-flood condition.
Right.
Right. That's really what insurance is there to accomplish, is to get you back to that point. So homeowners really need to be thinking with what are they being offered from the flood insurance? And then from there, should I reach out to a public adjuster? Because if I'm not being properly taken care of, then you need to get somebody in your court who knows the codes, who knows what should be covered, who knows how to deal with the insurance companies that may not want to pay out what they should be paying out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also have a new addition to the Consumer Quarterback Show roster, a gentleman by the name of Derek Cobell. He is a public adjuster. So,
Right.
get him on your side. He's somebody on your side. You definitely want to talk to Brandon Faust, moldsolutions.com. You can find him online at moldsolutions.com, also consumerqb.com. And so, Brandon, what else are you seeing? It's just a challenging time for people right now.
I mean, it's really it's not a fun thing to do, to go into a home and tell them, hey, look, the way that this is being approached, unfortunately, it's going to be a lot more headache than what you're probably originally expecting. Because most people, they go in, the flood water is receded, and they touch it, and it's dry to the touch, and hey, we're good, right? No, we're not good. Because if you put a moisture meter up to it, or you put thermal imaging up to it, which we've done, you see how far that water has now wicked up that structural material.
Right.
So if that's remaining wet for weeks or even maybe a month, like when I did some work in Louisiana, it was 6 weeks later, stuff was still reading wet after the storm.
Wow.
So when you have that, you're going to have microbial growth. Where
Right.
there's water, there's life. And if it's sitting there saturated for an extended period of time, mold could start growing within 48 to 72 hours.
Yeah.
So if it's been wet for a week or 10 days or whatever it is, I mean, we're going on to a week now, the chance of there being microbial growth behind that drywall is extremely high.
Right.
And what most people are not considering is that mold, when it gets enough moisture, and it can be from just vapor transfer alone, from like humidity and, heat differential,
Right.
that alone can be enough to actually create activation for mold, and it will start releasing a toxic substance that can be really damaging to the neurological system, the respiratory system, to all types of aspects of the immune system of the body.
Yeah.
And then they now have they don't know where these illnesses are coming from, or where these they're fatigued, they have headaches, joint aches, rashes, they're waking up with all kinds of issues, and they don't know why.
Yeah.
And it's because there's actually poison behind their walls.
Yeah. Man, it's a tough situation to have. It is costly, and a lot of times as well, you look at the cost size. So when you come out, are you able to give them an estimate of what it would cost, or how does that work, the whole process around that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, of course. And look, I'm not here to try to drum up business on this. I want to give advice so that people are handling it correctly.
Sure.
And they're using a licensed and certified company so that they get it done the right way. And they're also making sure that their contractor is doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's about living in a safe and healthy home.
Right.
Because you cannot have a home if it's not safe and healthy. It's not.
Right.
Right. It's a place that you are being damaged, and that's not a home. So to me, where I'm coming from is, when my son got sick from mold, when I got sick in 2019, when I had mold behind my walls, that's where I'm coming from. It's like, look, you guys really want to handle this the right way, whether you use Mold Solutions or you use another company, just make sure it's done the correct way.
Right.
So yes, we are going out and we are doing, an eval, and we'll take readings and that type of thing. If they're a homeowner in Pinellas, we'll do that for them, and also in Hernando, right? We'll do that. But most importantly is knowing, having the knowledge so that you can make sure your home is properly addressed.
Yeah. And the right questions to ask.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right? Because you should be going 4 foot up, when there's a flood, right? The 2 foot flood cut, no, this went a foot up in itself. So you want to go 2 feet beyond that. And when you're dealing with drywall comes in 4 feet sheets. So you want to go 4 foot and really like a quarter inch, because you don't want that drywall sitting on the floor. You don't want it on the slab so that it can wick water up if, you have a spill or something like that down the road.
Sure.
So you do the 4 foot flood cuts, and then you have to have dehumidifiers, and you have to have enough dehumidifiers that are industrial dehumidifiers. Like having a dehumidifier that you bought from Home Depot and having a fan or a couple fans going on it is not enough. It's not going to dry it out fast enough. So you really need to have professional equipment. And then once you have that stuff removed and the contents that are non-salvageable removed, then you have to have, antimicrobials and that type of stuff to properly clean it up.
Sure.
So of course we're available. If you guys, listeners want to reach out to us at mold.solutions on Instagram and send us a, direct message, we're glad to answer questions. If they want to give us a call, I can give you the number. It's 727-276-4787. That's 727-276-4787. Give us a call, and we'd be glad to answer any questions that people might have on it.
Yeah, I think that's a smart thing to do. Get that, and even get a second opinion sometimes, because some of the other contractors, I kind of say it this way, there's in any industry there's good, better, and best, and we always work with the best, and that's what I would say is that you get sometimes. Bad advice. It's after the storm, you got these contractors coming through that are kind of fly by night. So that's another area that you have to be careful of in those areas, in that position, because you're looking at insurance claims, you're confused. There's a lot of different pieces to navigate here. Bring in the professionals. Let them give you the advice that they do. That's their specification. And Brandon Faust, longtime friend of the program here, moldsolutions.com. You can find him online, moldsolutions.com. And where else? Online at...
Yeah, so it's moldsolutions.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We definitely have a digital presence to, make us easily accessible. We do a lot of tips and videos, as well. So they can find us on Instagram. It's really the best place to kind of go and look at what we're doing and the advice that we're providing as well.
Put a lot of cool videos out there and show clips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Hey, thanks a lot, Brandon.
You got
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, we had another great show. Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, Alex Black Belt Lima on the show, as well as Brandon Faust, Mold Solutions. We want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next.